Hello and welcome to the Week 16 edition of the Monster Pod here on The Lines. Lines.com, Matt Brown, Mo Nuwwarah coming to you. And Mo, it's almost depressing for me to say Week 16 of the pod here. I mean, man, we only got 3 weeks of regular season left. And I say this every year, but kind of like, where the hell did the season go?
That's definitely how I'm feeling. Feels like Isaiah Likely landed on the back line about a month ago, and that was actually like 3 months ago.
I know. I'm just sitting here going, I can't even imagine how this season got away from me like it did. But here we are, 3 weeks of the regular season left, and we will get to tackle on this thing for you guys as we do each and every week, absolutely free. So reminder, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, as 50,000 plus of you have already. So appreciate the support out there for all of that. And of course, everything we do over thelines.com, absolutely free as well. Mo, I want to kick things off here with just a little bit of a mea culpa on my end. I got destroyed on Thursday Night Football. I'm not, neither here nor there whether the Broncos should have held on and covered the 3 and all that, but I think it's for me. I do want to kind of bring up a teaching moment for me, despite the fact I've been doing this for as long as I have. You can still always learn stuff. And with the way that the injury reporting is now, I think for me moving forward, for stuff that I can't verify or see with my own eyes or kind of anything like that, and specifically when it's a quarterback that doesn't rely on rushing to be a big part of the offense, for the offense to work, I have to quit factoring that into my handicap, because I ended up taking the Broncos at +3 last night with Herbert, and basically, reading all the beat reporters saying he's doing little to nothing at practice and yada, 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 and all this stuff like that. But it's like, at the end of the day, Herbert's not a rushing quarterback. They have 0 called rushes for Justin Herbert. Like, he is, at the end of the day, a dude that is going to sit in there and try to make some plays in the pocket. However, he's still a pro athlete. He's still getting the best drugs there is on the face of the planet, and he still has the instincts of a pro athlete. And so, yeah, even if his ankle's hurt, he's still going to try to escape the pocket if the pressure collapses. Like, he's still going to roll to the opposite side and do all these things that like these pro athletes and superhumans are able to do, right? And so if it's not a Lamar or an Anthony Richardson or Jalen Hurts or all these guys where like the quarterback being a big time rusher, Jaden Daniels, whatever, is like an actual real part of the offense, I've got to quit letting these ankle injuries and quad injuries and calf injuries and stuff like that factor into my handicapping as much as it does. So I just kind of wanted to get out there that, hey, listen, something I'm going to try to focus on much harder moving forward is not letting this sway me at the end of the day when it's like a dude like Herbert, where rushing isn't a big part of his game as it is anyway.
Yeah, I got killed on the Broncos as well. So you like the Chiefs is what you're saying?
Look, at the end of the day, we'll see how that all goes down. But honestly, look, he ends up scrambling 5 times in that game last night, right? And it's like, yeah, his ankle was obviously bothering him. But like I said, he's a pro. He's on the good drugs, and his instincts take over, and he's just going to go, it's like the deal where if it's Lamar and the rushing total is set at 60-something yards or whatever, high 50s or whatever, and he's got an ankle injury. Now, that's something maybe to discuss, because they might not call as many designed runs for him if that's the case. But Herbert's never getting design runs called for him. And anytime he takes off and anything he does anything and all of that, it's all instinct. He's going to go pick up the first down if he sees the 3 yards. Like, he's not going to not do that. It's not Kirk Cousins, he's still going to go do that. And so for me, just something I've got to quit with all of this, right? Like, if his ankle's hurt, but if he's going to play, then I have to just look at it, the fact that he feels his ankle's good enough to play, and he's going to give it, everything he's got.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes has been doing this for years.
Yeah.
So, if they can get out there, they can gut through a few runs here and there. Maybe, they'll pull off a couple of yards earlier than they would have here or there. But the worst is going to be basically if it's affecting their mechanics throwing the ball. So
yeah.
I guess we just have to generally assume that if they're out there, their mechanics are probably going to be pretty normal.
Right.
But all that being said, don't allow points when you're punting with 8 seconds left. It seems pretty cut and dried. I mean, that completely changed the game.
I never thought that I would say the turning point in a game became the first made free kick in 50 years, but it kind of was. Like, I mean, it's so weird that was the way that game went down. But again, we'll move on here to Week 16. 2 Saturday games, guys, so don't let those sneak up on you. We have the Texans at the Chiefs. This is now flipped to 3.5 in favor of the Chiefs. A total of 42 is the kind of the prevailing total. You can find a 41.5. You can find a 42.5 out there. Mo, this does nobody any good, but I have the +3 and the +3.5 in this game. So I have both sides of this. So I'll have to handicap this as we move forward with it just being the -3.5 that's currently available on the side of Kansas City. As you mentioned, Patrick Mahomes going to play, it looks like, all indications. I think unless something went terribly, terribly wrong, he's going to give it a go. And so with that, we've moved to basically where we were before all of this nonsense went down. It was sitting about 4, right? And so now we're back to 3.5, and that's factoring in, I don't know, I guess the fact that he's playing at 80% instead of 100%.
Yeah, I'm kind of kicking myself. I was greedy.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Chiefs +2.5 early in the week. I liked the Chiefs quite a bit, but I thought that Carson Wentz was going to play. Usually when they say week to week,
right,
usually you're out the first week, if not the second week. So they immediately had called him week to week. So I thought when Carson Wentz would get announced in, the Chiefs would have a bigger number. And yep. I was pretty excited to bet the Chiefs because I've seen Andy Reid do this so many times with quarterbacks much less talented than Carson Wentz. So I was pretty excited to get the Chiefs at a bigger number. It didn't happen, and I blew it. Now I would say leaning Houston, just because I don't think a ton of points are going to be scored in this game. So 3.5 probably carries a lot of value in a game like that. I mean, the total's 41. You have a Houston defensive line that is extremely good. You have a Chiefs offensive line that has very, very clear weak points. Mm-hmm. You have Joe Tooney playing left tackle. I mean, I think the Chiefs can get away with that in a lot of spots. I don't know if this is one of them. It wasn't just the hit that hurt Patrick Mahomes. He got plastered about 15 times against the Browns. He was clearly frustrated. Houston has a similarly talented defensive line. I'm a little bit worried that Mahomes is going to be in trouble here, but I also don't have any confidence in this Houston offense. Playing on the road against a solid defense, and the Chiefs do have somebody who can match up with Nico Collins, so I'm not running to the window to bet Houston or anything.
Yeah, I look at this and I'm wondering if I can, again, if I didn't have both sides of this in a good situation, if I could bring myself to lay the 3.5, and I don't think I could, even though I think the Chiefs are, at least according to the way that I see both of these teams, just a much, much better team. Like you said, the Houston offense has done nothing to inspire me at all for the last basically 6 weeks of the season. And that includes getting Nico Collins back, right? I mean, it's sure he has splash plays here and there, but it's not like this is a consistently performing team down in and down out. But I do wonder if 3.5 is getting a little rich. Chiefs, as we laugh it off, but really do play a lot of close games. They like to play a lot of close games. Houston's defense, especially the run defense, has gotten much better over the course of the season as well. The pass defense was kind of always there, but the run defense has gotten much better for them over the course of the year. I think I would probably take the 3.5, as crazy as it is to say, but fortunately I don't have to. So, we'll kind of go on from there. The second of the Saturday games, the Steelers on the road at the Baltimore Ravens. This is sitting 6.5 in favor of the Ravens at home. Our total here, 44.5 to 45. The news here is Pickens is out, but Watt is in for the Steelers. Mo, who do you think is a bigger impact for this game, just in your personal opinion? If it had to have been one or the other, is it a bigger deal to you that Watt is in, or a bigger deal to you that Pickens is out?
I think Pickens. I think we saw that last week, good buddy Rich Ryan laid it out for me, and I was relatively convinced in that game that the Eagles were pretty well set up to dominate the Steelers, and everything he said was right. So I have to give him the hat tip here, and I think that it's probably what we're going to see again here today. I just don't see why. I don't see how Pittsburgh has a functional offense really at this point. Like, they caught multiple breaks in that game, and they still got just pretty much dominated by the Eagles. I mean, fumbles on own 20 and just and still didn't matter. Muffed punt. Like, they still lost handily. And I think they're going to lose handily again here. Mm-hmm. I mean, I said this last time these two teams played, that I thought the Ravens and the Steelers were in different tiers, and then the Ravens went out and outgained them by 3 yards per play or something ridiculous and lost the game outright. So I'm ready to be hurt again. That's what this is. I think the Ravens are a way better team than the Steelers, and I think this line should be north of 7. So I did lay 6.5, and I'm just prepared for a bunch of stupid things to happen in the Steelers' favor, because I know that's the only way they can be in this game, and I know that it's somehow going to happen still probably.
So the other thing that led me to not only playing Baltimore, but playing some alts with Baltimore as well, is what you laid out from the offensive side for sure. It is a team that cannot run the ball successfully. So they've at least found something whenever Pickens is out there and Russell Wilson throwing the YOLO balls. Well, in comes Baltimore, whose run defense is very good, kind of a funnel, as we used to, say in the DFS days. It's a funnel defense that funnels you to passing the ball. They go against the run very, very well. Well, okay, now you have to force this Pittsburgh team to pass without Pickens, and it's looked really, really bad and dysfunctional without him out there. And so I just don't know what they do here to have any success in this. And then on the flip side, this Pittsburgh defense, weeks 1 to 8, and this is a hat tip to Ian Harditz out there, weeks 1 to 8, this rush defense for Pittsburgh was 4th overall in EPA per play allowed in the NFL. Weeks 9 to 15, they are down at 28th in the NFL in EPA per play allowed against the run. And so here comes one of the most efficient running teams in the NFL in the Ravens to town. I look at this, and it's kind of like I'm trying to find a reason to feel good about the Steelers at all, and everything just keeps coming up Ravens. And it comes up Ravens at margin, too, for me when I look at this. So, again, I laid the 6.5 and then played some 7.5, played some 9.5 to get it, all the different things like that to see if I can't kind of capitalize on what I think could be kind of a coming to Jesus game here for this Pittsburgh team to kind of really understand where they sit in the pecking order.
I mean, I just don't see how dumping the ball to Jaylen Warren and throwing short to Pat Freiermuth is going to produce a functional offense, and it didn't against the Eagles. Maybe Jaylen Warren over catches is a good look in this game. I thought maybe that was a good look last week. I didn't fire it. He only caught one pass, but I feel like I still feel that way this week. I just when your receiving options are Van Jefferson and something Calvin Austin, I fear for your safety on the road against the Ravens here.
Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. This is all the way out to 9 at Caesars and Circa, 8.5 everywhere else, 46.5 to 47 of the prevailing totals that you can find out there. Of course, the big news here, the Browns, they've moved away from Jameis. They're going to play DTR. This obviously lowers their ceiling massively, so the line moves in favor of Cincinnati. This is going to be America's teaser leg of the week. Everybody, when this was at 7.5, when this was at 8, even at 8.5, is going to be playing Cincinnati here against Cleveland. DTR, I mean, I know we don't have a huge body of work here, Mo, but we have some body of work here and at least some sample size, and he has been absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, he's really bad. But Cincinnati's defense is really bad too. I don't know. I'm a little bit tempted when this is creeping up towards 10 to play the Browns. Their defense has had so much success against the Cincinnati offense in the past. I mean, I'm not like a trends guy, but how many times in a row do the Browns, come out and give it to this Bengals offense before we just know that this is a thing? Like, they seem to have Joe Burrow's number. But yeah, I don't know what to expect from this offense. I wish it was Jameis. I'd be pretty happily playing the Browns again here if it was Jameis. I did look at some props for this one. Jerome Ford anytime, I think around plus 130. I think I like that one. Nick Chubb out for the year with a broken foot. There's no other back with any kind of talent level to take his touches, and Cincinnati's defense has been dreadful. And yeah, I just don't think a starting running back against Cincinnati should have a number like that.
Do we think, because I also looked at props for this game, what do we think the game plan for the Browns is going to be? Do you think they're going to try to run an actual normal offense with DTR, or do we think we see kind of one of these hybrid type offenses where he might have 10 or 12 carries in this game and kind of utilize him as the guy that spells Jerome Ford as opposed to like putting another back out there?
Yeah, I think the latter. Just feel like they're going to lean more into their running game. I mean, you do have a Cincinnati defense that, 31st in rush defense success rate, 30th in EPA. Like, these guys have been killed on the ground frequently. They lose Sam Hubbard. I know he was having a poor year, but I think he's more of the edge-setting type of defensive lineman anyways, so might affect them more in the running game than rushing the passer. A lot of stuff looks pretty good for Jerome Ford here to me. Yeah,
I just again no numbers obviously to back this up, guys. So just either ride with my gut or you can just move on from this game. But DTR's rush yard set at 25.5. I would be shocked if he didn't run the ball 8 times in this game. If he runs the ball 8 times, we don't need very much efficiency even with that to get there. But I mean, 25.5 seems too low for what I imagine will be a DTR that, even though the Bengals don't get a lot of pressure and all the things like that, like when he does feel it, I think first instinct is going to be tuck and run and go. And like we kind of seen that with him a couple of different times. 25.5 just seems too low for me on
It
DTR.
does seem too low. I guess my fear there would be if it's 14-3, do they just go back to Jameis?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, and they could for sure with all this. So, and again, I'm banking this on. And if you don't think he gets 8 carries in this game, then you don't want to make that bet. But like I'm banking on 8 carries, and with that, don't even have to be efficient to like get to the 26 number there. With all that, Detroit Lions on the road at the Chicago Bears. This is 6.5 in favor of the Lions on the road. 47.5 to 48 is the total out there in the market. We know down goes David Montgomery, though we get news today. Maybe he makes it back for the playoffs, and maybe it's not season ending after all. In all of this, in steps Craig Reynolds to kind of be the 1-2 punch there for the Lions. Curious as to how much run he gets there in that one here, Mo. But, look, Detroit just continues to buck the trend. Like, all these guys keep going down. All these injuries keep happening, and they still keep playing at a high level. I don't know how the hell it's happening, but here we have them heading on to Chicago, who is not playing at a high level.
Yeah, this one, people are going to think I'm just like betting every game so far because I kind of am in these first few, but I actually promise it's the opposite. I only have a few, but I took the Lions here at 6.5. Man, this one is more of like a feel situational play than anything. I just like everybody's just talking about how depleted this Detroit defense is. They have nobody left. What are they going to do for the rest of the year? Well, I can tell you what I think is going to happen this week, which is I think they're going to walk in to Chicago and lay the smack down on the Bears because, yeah, I mean, are they in trouble when they play the Packers or maybe even the Vikings, Philly, somebody like that? Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't trust Jared Goff trying to come back in a negative game script against a good team. And, fair chance they're going to fall behind these teams if this defense can't get stops anymore. But the Bears are going to stop themselves. They do that every week. They come out and they go down 20-0 every week because they stink. And the Lions do not stink.
Yeah.
And all they've been hearing about is how they're not the favorites anymore, this and that. Dan Campbell's going to have these guys ready to go. This is the most professional just outfit every week. They come out, play hard, going up against a team that is the most dysfunctional, crappy franchise this side of the New York Jets. I think it's going to be 21-3 in the first half, just like it has been for the last 3 Bears games in a row, and I just don't think Chicago's going to come back. I mean, so I like the Lions quite a bit here.
Yeah, I like Lions first quarter. I like Lions first half. I like all of that. The only thing you could hang your hat on with Chicago for at least the first half of the season when they were still terrible on offense was the fact that the defense was good. Well, again, let's cut this off at week 9, right? So start at week 9. What have we seen? What have you done for me lately? Well, I'll tell you what you've done for me lately is this defense that was number 1 against the pass for weeks 1 to 8 is now 27th in weeks 9 to 15 against the pass. And this defense on the rush side of things, it was at least middle of the pack. They were like 17th weeks 1 to 8 is now down to 29th against the rush since week number 9. I mean, the defense has completely crumbled, has gone to absolute dust. And like you said, there's a reason they keep falling down every single game. And oh, by the way, here comes this truck of an offense in the Lions that's coming to town. So like, tell me how you stop this from happening against the Lions as well. I love the Lions first quarter and first half. And I'll have some 6.5 full game as well. But I think they just get to them early and often. And then maybe they lighten up a little bit in the second half. I'm not sure, but I expect, like you said, Dan Campbell, he's played every sound bite. He's shown them every freaking headline, everything about how they're soft and how they're falling off and how they can't contend when it comes to playoff time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what better opponent to come out and make yourself feel a little better than this Chicago Bears team?
You got a Detroit team that is got the best offensive line in the game. Like, they can still score when they're killing the clock here. Mm-hmm. Just, if people want to see a hilarious line, go look at Jahmyr Gibbs' anytime touchdown. It is absolutely absurd.
And he's going to score. Like, if you're doing like a same game parlay, like, you have to put it in there.
He's at the top of every fantasy projection you will find this week. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I wish the Bears the worst of luck. They're going to need it. They're going to need the best of luck because people are, oh, Jared Goff outside. I don't know if he needs to throw 20 passes in this game.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And how far down the field does he have to throw him? Yeah, he doesn't have to do that either, right? I mean, like, Amon-Ra St. Brown's a yak monster. Like, all these dudes, like, are so good after they catch. It's this is going to be bad. Arizona Cardinals on the road at the Carolina Panthers. This is 4.5, pretty much majority across the industry in favor of Arizona. 47.5 is our total. Bryce Young gets the proverbial vote of confidence there from Dave Canales, said he will start the final 3 games of the year for Carolina, so he has nothing to worry about as far as getting benched. Arizona's on the other end of this spectrum here, at least from a pass defense perspective, Mo. It was really shocking to me. So this team that was just so bad over the first 2 months of the season, since week 9, I don't know what they figured out. I don't know what's going on with Arizona. They are second in the NFL since week 9 in pass defense, EPA per play allowed on the drop back side of things, which is a 26 slot climb from the first 8 weeks of the season. They're only behind the Eagles as far as pass defense EPA per play allowed since week 9. So Arizona's turned it around on that side of the ball, at least against the pass anyway, and done a little bit better against the run too. That said, they're on the road. It's on the other side of 4, and at least a Carolina team that continues to play hard.
Yeah, I thought the Panthers probably. I mean, specifically Bryce Young. I thought he played a bit better than the scoreboard indicated last week. I thought he made some nice throws, to be honest, but the defense got crushed and fell into a negative script. You get a couple Micah Parsons chase downs and just pocket collapses, and all of a sudden they're down 20 and the game's over.
Yeah.
I do anticipate a bounce back here. I thought Arizona's pass defense was pretty poor against the Vikings, and the second time against the Seahawks, I was pretty unimpressed as well. I suspect the Panthers are the side, just due to the fact that kind of sell high and buy low when I thought, like I said, Bryce played a bit better than the score, and I thought Arizona played worse than the score. I was a bit frustrated that I lost my Patriots +6. They caught some very large breaks. They were able to get a stop on the 4. That was big.
Yeah.
And then you got a bouncing ball through the end zone. Every week we see the most athletic defensive players in the world can't scoop up a bouncing ball, but right here, a 320-pound offensive tackle with a foot of leeway just falls on it perfect and corrals it for a touchdown for Arizona. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think they dominated the Patriots as thoroughly as the score indicates. The Patriots, I mean, they kept driving and then not scoring. So, I do lean Panthers. I think they'll play a bit better here. It's not a great spot for Arizona. Long travel, to the East Coast. So, lean Panthers, but I'm not confident enough to bet it. I think the market is still somewhat believing in the Panthers. I mean, a month ago this line would have been 7, so yeah. I think it's still being baked in that they're a better team.
I might be a contest play for me or something like that, just because I do have that feeling that they play a little bit better. I was trying to explain this all week to people who are like, "Oh, see, same old Carolina Panthers are back." It's like, no. It was the defense that was back, but again, the offense, like, it was fine until it wasn't. And and you get almost any team into a position where the other team, where the other team's defense knows exactly what you're going to do every single play, and it makes it very hard to play football in the NFL, and especially when you don't have a ton of talent like Carolina doesn't, and so that I kind of give it a little bit of a pass from what I saw last week. I was tempted to play the over when this was at 46.5. Now that's moved on the other side of 47. Not quite as good there, but I think Arizona probably scores on this really bad defense. I think Carolina comes back. I think Carolina can put some points on the board too. So I think if there's any play for me here, like I said, contest play on Carolina, and I might end up on some fashion on the over. I think both these teams can do some stuff here. New England Patriots on the road at the Buffalo Bills. This is 14.5 in favor of the Bills, 46.5 the prevailing total out there. Again, Mo, they open this at 44. Every week they give me this. I'm playing the Patriots over until otherwise. Like, I mean, yes, I got lucky to get there last week and all that, but it got there nonetheless. They continue to open this at like 44 every week. It gets instantly bet up to 46, 46.5, 47. I'm going to continue to do it. There's a little bit of spunk in this Patriots team. Drake May knows how to chase pretty good. He's not afraid to run to go pick up firsts and do different things like that. And then, of course, we know the wagon that is the Buffalo Bills. So, yeah, man, give me the Bills scoring 30-plus on them, and then let Drake May go get me 2 garbage time touchdowns, and I'm home again. I'm just going to continue to play the Patriots overs until they lose it for me. It's now 6 straight weeks that this continues to work. So let's see if we can make it a 7th.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, this reminds me a bit of that Lions spot that I just talked about, where the Bills could be killing the clock and moving the ball in this game. I mean, this rushing offense is elite. We see it every week. They're 3rd in adjusted line yards. I mean, they're up against a Patriots defense that is not very strong in any facet of football. So, yeah, I just think the Bills can probably name their score. As far as covering this number, I feel like the number's too low, but again, I don't know how motivated the Bills are going to be to cover a number like this. Coming off a huge win, not in a spot where they really need to be pushing it or showing a lot of stuff on tape. Does seem kind of like it should be a workmanlike 10-point win. And like you said, very, very live backdoor team, I think, with the Patriots here. So not a spot where I'd be rushing to lay the points, even though talent-wise, I suspect the Bills should be like minus 17 here.
So Josh Allen, and the only reason I bring this up, because like I said, we're talking about these guys that do rely on being, rushing being a part of the offense and things like that. Josh Allen rush yards, 34.5. It goes back to there's going to be a certain amount of just Josh Allen being Josh Allen and scrambling when the pocket collapses and stuff, but I don't know how many design runs we see here in this one, because I do believe the Bills, Mo, with the situation with the Chiefs, and yes, Patrick Mahomes is going to play. We still don't really know how healthy he is. So the number 1 seed is still in play here for Buffalo. I I wonder if we don't see Mitch Trubisky, at some point in the fourth quarter, right? I mean, like midway through the fourth quarter, why wouldn't you throw Mitch Trubisky out there and make sure that Josh Allen's not taking any unnecessary hits and things and stuff like that? I mean, I know we don't see that in the middle of the season, but now that we get here towards the home stretch in a game that you can just kind of rocking chair win, I don't know. There's a 35.5 rushing yards on Josh Allen out there. I know it's scary to take an under on anything Josh Allen, but I think I might do it in this one. The attempts is at 7.5, so maybe you feel more comfortable with that because maybe he just breaks a couple of big scrambles or something. But 8 carries for Allen in a game that they're 14.5-point favorites seems like a lot.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I kind of like the under there for sure. I mean, this should be the most vanilla game plan. I mean, we see it with the Chiefs time and again against these bad teams. They don't want to put anything, meaningful on film. They're just going to come out, let Patrick Mahomes play it pretty safe, and I would guess the Bills are going to do something similar here. I know Josh Allen is a maniac, but I would think that they're going to try to rein him in as best they can.
Going to say, sometimes they just got to protect him against himself, and I think that might happen here in this one. Philadelphia Eagles on the road at the Washington Commanders. This was all Washington. Then we get some buyback on Philadelphia. So 3.5 is the prevailing number out there right now. 45.5, also the prevailing total. A.J. Brown did practice today. We didn't get an official in or out yet on this one. Mo, I imagine he'll be listed as questionable, and probably they'll say, okay, game time decision or something like that on him. But Devonta Smith was a full participant in practice just even yesterday, so he'll be out there for Philadelphia. We do know that Jalen Hurts is playing with a broken finger on his non-throwing hand. And they are on the road here at Washington at 3.5. Do you like taking the hook with the home team here, or do you think that Philadelphia proves that they're in a different category than Washington?
I don't like the dog. Would lean Philly slightly. I don't think I'm confident enough in this team to lay a number like this on the road against a pretty good Washington team, but it does seem like a good matchup for them. I mean, Washington's rushing defense is poor. Philadelphia is very good at running the ball, and Washington's injuries are actually pretty concerning to me for this one.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam Cosmi, one of their best linemen, he's out, I believe. And then these pass catchers the pass catching group is getting thin. I can't believe I'm saying this in 2024, almost 2025 now, but I think losing Zach Ertz actually matters.
Yeah.
He's kind of been a pretty important security blanket for Jaden Daniels, and then you already have Noah Brown out. I mean, you're looking at the Eagles have such a good second. I don't have confidence anybody is going to get open really besides Terry McLaurin, and that basically means they can just focus their coverages that way, and I don't really have much confidence in Washington's offense here. We've seen the Eagles really stifle these rushing quarterbacks as well, man. They did not let Jaden Daniels run for any yards. I know he was hurt, but then they play against Lamar. He's completely bottled up. Don't look at the stats because it's fake. He has 79 yards, and 40 of them came on one carry at the end of the game when the game was already over. They were down 2 scores with a minute and a half left or something. That was fake rushing yards. They held him to like 35 yards in the meaningful portion of that game. So I just think the Eagles it seems like a good matchup for them.
I missed the flat 3. I think I would have played the flat 3. I just missed it. It didn't last long. People bought that up real quick as soon as that hit. We've talked about it here for the last few weeks on the pod, and I mean it's worth repeating. This Philadelphia defense, it took a while to round into form, but it is absolutely elite. Over the second half of the season, again, starting in week 9, they are number 1 against the rush and the pass in the NFL. Like, they are the number 1 team against the rush and against the pass in the NFL over the last 6 weeks of the season. It took sometimes it takes a little while for everybody to buy in, for everybody to figure things out, but this defense is crushing everybody over the last 6 weeks. And so I don't imagine that Washington, whose offense has certainly looked a lot worse here over the second half, is going to come out and light this team up. If for whatever reason the dog gets popular again, I don't think it will, but if the dog gets popular again and this thing gets to the flat 3, you can probably see me on the Eagles. But at 3.5, I guess I'll just sit back and watch and hate myself when the Eagles go and win this thing by double digits. Is basically what'll probably end up happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said, it's Vic Fangio against a rookie quarterback. I mean, yeah, Jaden Daniels has been promising, but still a rookie against Vic Fangio, who is known for having some of the more complex schemes out there, and it just doesn't seem like a good matchup for Washington. So I kind of lean Eagles. I don't know if I'm gonna play it though. Place is going to be rocking, man. Biggest Washington game in forever. So.
Forever. Yes, in forever for sure. New York Football Giants on the road at the Atlanta Falcons. This is 8.5 in favor of the Falcons. Total of 43.5 out there in the market. Couple backups going here. So Drew Lock, full participant in practice. So he'll be going for the Giants. And the switch has been made finally. Kirk Cousins goes to the bench. Michael Penix will get his opportunity to go up against the worst defense in the NFL. So welcome to the NFL. You get a home game against the worst defense in the NFL. Mo, I was looking at some of these dudes that are going to play for the Giants, and I was like, did they go raid like a UFL team or something? Like, I'm pretty good at these depth charts and stuff, and I'm like, I've never even heard of a lot of these dudes, which is why a guy making his first start in the NFL is an 8.5-point favorite in this game.
I know. I can't believe that's a thing, man. And even crazier is that I actually scooped up Michael Penix because I'm desperate for a quarterback play on a first-place team, which is just ridiculous to say. But, I mean, isn't 4 touchdowns within the realm of reason here?
Absolutely.
3 for sure. I don't know, but at the same time, I'm not going to go bet minus 8.5 here with the Falcons when we haven't seen this guy take a snap. I mean, this is – I wasn't a huge Penix guy in the draft, so that being said, I've been calling for Penix to start for a month. I mean, not only was I being selfish because I bought some Rookie of the Year before the season, but – very, very long price. But, I mean, if I said if they had any guts, he would have started a month ago if the Falcons had any guts at all because Cousins is playing horrific. So, I mean, I think the move is more than warranted. But am I going to lay 8.5 with a quarterback who's never taken a snap? Definitely not. But, yeah, like you said, I mean, this Giants team, it's not – they were bad to start the season, and then they have second-string guys just everywhere. I mean, superstar like Dexter Lawrence is out. I watched Drew Lock against the Saints, and he got it home for me, but let me tell you, that was the most painful sweat I've had the entire season, I think, as far as a winning bet, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to bet this, I don't hate, like, Penix. Like, if you're playing, like, play like Penix alts, just in case this goes well against the worst defense in the league, right? I mean, play 2+ passing touchdowns, play 250+ pass yards, like do stuff like that shows the kind of the upside of what could happen with Penix being out there. You had Kirk Cousins, who had the lowest rate of throwing a pass outside of the pocket in the NFL, not only in the NFL, but by a lot in the NFL, by like a whole bunch. Like the dude didn't do anything. They couldn't run a real offense with Cousins because he could not move. And people keep pointing, Mo, like, you know, I'm big into the NFL draft. I was floored whenever they took Penix when they did, but maybe they're sharper than me. You know, shocker, and NFL teams may be sharper than me because here they are needing him down the stretch to try and make the playoffs. But people talk about, oh, well, he's not a runner. Basically, what are you doing? You're just putting in like a left-handed Kirk Cousins. Well, no. Just because someone didn't do something doesn't mean they can't do something. At his pro day, he ran a 4.56, right? I mean, the guy is not like a statue back there or whatever. Like the dude, if need be, can move around and whatever. And I think we're going to see him, even if it's not even if it's not like designed runs or anything like that. Like I do think we have a guy that can get outside of the pocket and they can actually call some stuff where, you know, make this look like a more functional, real NFL offense than what Kirk Cousins was doing, you know? And so, you know, actual real stretch plays where he can get out there to get the ball to the dude and like play action stuff where he can like roll and get outside of the pocket. Like, none of that was even possible with Kirk Cousins. So I actually think we get a decent version of this Falcons offense, at least from a play calling standpoint. Now, it is his first start in the NFL, so maybe he's bad and maybe he throws the ball to the other team and all the stuff like that. But I think that the offense will look much more like a real offense with him under center.
I mean, Cousins has 1 touchdown in a month.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else we need to say besides that, but more importantly, yeah, Penix can actually maybe step into a pass and throw the ball with some zip. At Washington, he loved to throw deep. I would maybe look for some Darnell Mooney.
Right.
This might sound crazy, but look for like Darnell Mooney leading receiver this week or something.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he just like rips off 275-yarders. That's well within reason.
It is. Absolutely. I mean, and guys, if you don't believe it, I'm like, go look who's going to play for the Giants this week. It is like, it's crazy how bad this team is. Tennessee Titans on the road at the Indianapolis Colts. This is 3.5 to 4 in favor of the Colts at home over Tennessee. 42.5 is a prevailing total. Tennessee makes the move to Mason Rudolph after benching Will Levis. Guys, I know this breaks all the bettors' hearts out there that they can't bet on Will Levis again. I know all you sharps that have been betting Will Levis all season long. I know this breaks your heart because you don't have an opportunity to go in and bet Will Levis this week. Call me crazy, Mo. I played over 42. I mean, I think Rudolph is much better than Will Levis. I think that these defenses both are terrible. I think that if I can get at least a middling performance from Anthony Richardson, that they can put up some points here or whatever. So, shockingly enough, I played the over in this thing.
Yeah, I think I am going to call you crazy. I think mostly because Will Levis is like a walking over. Like, he's going to fling the ball 40 yards downfield to Calvin Ridley, and a lot of times the defense is going to catch it, which results in a quick score the other way. I was super curious about this Tennessee defense as far as the injury report. Mm-hmm. When I was capping this game, I did not have yesterday's stuff yet. Looks like Tavondre Sweat might be in there. I suspected he might be. He's been so good for them. Missed practice Wednesday. It just looks like he's off the injury report, so maybe just a rest day for him. Tony Pollard being out might hurt you a tad. He's been the more effective runner of the two, I believe, this year. Tajay Spears was very good last week as a receiver. But yeah, I guess my concern on your end would be Mason Rudolph. I think he is better than Levis. I agree. I've said that basically all year. My concern would be he's not going to give the ball to the other team and give them short fields, and he's kind of a little bit more of a conservative quarterback, I think, whenever I've seen him. I just think he tends to just kind of be more of a caretaker, doesn't want to take a lot of chances. So, I'd be worried that there's going to be some 3-minute drives to the 50 and then punting for Tennessee rather than throwing a pick on their own 30 and giving free touchdowns to the other team.
Los Angeles Rams on the road at the New York Jets. This is 3 in favor of the Rams across the board. 46.5 is the total out there. The Jets looked, I guess, like a team last week. Well, at least in the second half. Devontae Adams went nuts in the second half, and so there's that. Rams come to town. I think it's supposed to be really cold. So that said, it's Stafford. He seems like a G, so I don't really know if that's going to bother him all that much in this one. I looked at this, Mo, like 9 times and could come up with no angle here whatsoever. And so maybe you can help our listeners and viewers out.
Probably not. I don't know what to do with this game either. It's a team in the Jets that could just fold up shop and call it a season at any moment. It looked like they were. They have played a bit better the last couple of weeks, but, I mean, they're facing the worst pass defenses in the business, like the Jags. I mean, yeah, I just think, and there's motivational stuff with the Rams too. You just have a situation where if they win their last 2 games, which are at home divisional games, this game ends up being irrelevant, I believe. So there's that. I could feel like they could maybe just be spending time prepping for Seattle and Arizona. I mean, those are so much more important games than this game. But like you said, it's the Rams outdoors, which has been an adventure at times, not in a good way. But a Jets team that I can't trust whatsoever. So just a complete stay away for me, and I wouldn't really be surprised by much in this game.
That's where I was. That was the last statement, and I was going to put the bow on this was, if you told me the Rams won by double digits or the Jets won by double digits, I would be like, all right. Like that's not a jaw-dropping thing to me at all. And anytime a game has that type of reaction from me, Mo, it's just like, okay, I know for sure I need to quit trying to dig into this. And I don't need to dig up and find a bet here, right? Like, it's like, okay, move on. Don't sit there and do something that's going to make you look like an idiot.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you. I don't see much that interests me in this game. I mean, even like looking at it from a prop standpoint, it's very similar where I just could McVay come out and just look a lot better and they just outcoach a pretty in over their head Jets coaching staff and run away with this one. I mean, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all, especially with the effort level we've seen from the Jets at times. That being said, Aaron Rodgers has looked better the last couple of weeks. The only thing the Rams really have on defense is their pass rush. So with Olufashinu in there, shoring up the offensive line a bit. Tyron Smith was atrocious every time I watched him this year. So the Jets are playing a bit better. I mean, I kind of thought the 3.5 was kind of crazy in a way, just because like the talent level of these teams. I mean, the Jets shouldn't be plus 3.5 at home probably, but I just never know what kind of effort level we're getting from the Jets.
Minnesota Vikings on the road at the Seattle Seahawks. This is 3 in favor of the Vikings on the road. 42.5 is our total. I thought Geno Smith's season was over. It looked like it was a bad knee injury and that was going to be it. And they go to Sam Howell. He doesn't even come back in the game. And then somehow, Mo, he just magically healed. And here we go. Geno Smith full practices this week. When I'm like, did this dude just like not want to go back in the game last week or something? Like, what the hell? How do you get in full practices when it looked like your knee was falling off? But neither here nor there, I guess, with that. But news here is that Kenneth Walker was full practice for Seattle. So it looks like we're going back to Walker over Charbonnet here because Charbonnet is actually nicked up now for Seattle. So flip-flop the running backs there for them. And, hey, you want to talk about big games? Huge game for Minnesota. I mean, they can still win the division. They can still get the 1 seed, like all kinds of stuff in play for the Vikings.
Yeah, this is one of the most difficult games to handicap of the week as well. Like you said, you have Geno Smith is – there's better quarterbacks than Geno Smith. Mm-hmm. Are there more important quarterbacks? Maybe not. Yeah. Okay, like you look at his backup, and he is not only a bad quarterback, but it's a quarterback who has shown an extreme propensity for taking sacks. And Seattle has an atrocious offensive line. I mean, I think it just showed everything Geno Smith does to prop up that group. Mm-hmm. And this offense is completely non-functional without him. I don't know what his level of health is. I can't touch this game because of that. I mean, if it comes out Geno can't move and he's at 60% and you're up against the best blitz packages in the game against a bad O-line, I mean, this could get ugly in a hurry. But then again, if Geno is fine, should Seattle be +3 at home? I don't think so, but I just can't. I can't. And then you add in the fact that there's a monsoon coming. I mean, 99% chance of rain.
Yeah.
Good
this
luck
might just be like Kenneth
out.
Walker 20+ carries or something or whatever, if he actually is healthy or something like that. But I'm with you. I actually did write this one down as kind of like a maybe get in live game because like you said, like I think it'll take me 2 series to realize whether Geno is actually there or not. And if he's not, they should probably get handled in this game. And if Geno's okay, then sure, let Minnesota get up a field goal. Give me 5.5 or 6 or something like that. And then, I'll take it with Seattle. So it's kind of how I'm going about this one for sure. Since San Francisco 49ers on the road at the Miami Dolphins, this is, you can find one on each side. So you can find one in favor of San Francisco. You can find one in favor of Miami out there. 44.5 to 45 is our total. So, Tua, good to go, even though he was kind of banged up a little bit. There's been all kinds of stuff going on with this Miami team. Now they're out of it, Mo. We talk about is these motivation factor type games and whatnot, but I don't know. As a pick 'em, San Francisco seems like the right side to me, but it's not one that's in the account.
I feel the same as you. I lean 49ers. Some pretty poor injury reporting today for Miami. Teron Armstead, I believe, is out, and Jalen Waddle is definitely out. And you have the best coverage linebacker in the game who can maybe just take away Jonnu Smith here. Dre Greenlaw came back. I know he was on a snap count last week. Obviously, there was that whole kerfuffle that followed. But, the 49ers a bit closer to 100%, assuming Nick Bosa plays. But again, I'm just like throwing my hands up in the air with this. Like he just appears DNP today after he practiced. But it's the 49ers, so I don't know what to think. Don't expect Trent Williams to go. I would guess his season is probably over, to be honest. I know if I was going through what he was going through, I would not want to be showing up to work, especially when it was a dead season. But on the other side, man, it's Miami's offense, which just got crushed by Houston, which runs the same system tree as obviously what the 49ers are doing, and Miami couldn't do anything against them. So, I would maybe lean to the under, as crazy as that sounds with these two teams, but lean 49ers as well. I just don't know if I have a good enough read on this game to play it. But every time I am ready to count the 49ers out, they come out and pace somebody by 30. So I feel like the 49ers are the side.
It also, to me, feels that way. If this keeps moving, because, this was San Francisco minus 1.5. It went now, and now we're seeing like it flipping the sentiment heading back towards Miami. If I can get a decent plus number here, I don't know if I'll be able to resist it. I think I might have to come in at least a little bit.
Hasn't Shanahan has a great record against his former guys? Like, I feel like that's a thing at this point.
Yeah, it seems to me like it is, and also seems to me like a San Francisco team that like it still needs to kind of figure some stuff. I understand the season's over and all that, but like still needs to kind of figure some stuff out, right? Like, how do you have that much talent and have the season go like this? Like, I don't know. So I imagine he's still going to be coaching his ass off here for this one. Jacksonville Jaguars on the road at the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a point and a half in favor of the Raiders at home over the Jags. 40 to 40.5 is our total. Aiden O'Connell is going to go for the Raiders here in this one. Of course, we know what's going on with Jacksonville. Mo, fun story here. The resale market tickets for this are actually a hot commodity because this was a holiday game. And so Jacksonville fans marked it on their calendar that they were going to come to Vegas, right? So they're coming to Vegas regardless. Flights are booked. Hotels are booked. It doesn't matter. So these tickets are like going for like $100 over face value and stuff like that for these two atrocious football teams. It's so crazy. I know the players are going to play hard. The coaches, I guess, still have motivation if they think they're going to be back. I don't know if Antonio Pierce thinks he's going to be back or not with all this. Vegas is in the driver's seat to get Shedeur Sanders. A win here just annihilates that chance. Players are going to play hard. Can the front office do something to make this less likely? I don't know, but to put on my tinfoil hat here, because it's a program that desperately needs that number one pick. Like, desperately needs that number one pick.
Maybe they had Max Crosby fake his injury.
Yeah, seriously, dude.
That's like the big one here for me. Obviously, you got Crosby out. You have a Raiders defense that really has only had any success at rushing the passer this year. Their pressure rate is actually decent, and they blitz a lot against a quarterback who is non-functional under pressure in Mac Jones. So taking that threat away, I think, is actually pretty big. I like the Jags, man. I do not understand how there's a minus sign next to the Raiders in a pro football game. So I took the Jags. I think I'm going to take some over as well. It's already come up a little bit. It was 39.5, I think, the other day, and I'm seeing 40.5 now. I'm starting to just as soon as I'm looking at these teams, Aiden O'Connell Is he bad? Yes. Is he better than Desmond Ridder? Also, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him complete forward passes occasionally, and Mac Jones has kind of been cooking the last few weeks. I know the schedule has been mostly friendly, but he's starting to figure it out a little bit, and just spam the Brian Thomas button helps, obviously. The worst secondary in the NFL with the Jags, a terrible coach, a terrible defense for the Raiders. I kind of feel like both teams can get over 20 here, and I already have Jags money line. I think plus 106 in my account, but I think I'm going to add the over here. I mean, these defenses inspire negative confidence.
Yeah, no, I actually, now that you brought that up, hadn't even considered it, but I think that's a decent look. I mean, Aiden O'Connell has looked at times competent. And he still has Brock Bowers, right? So
yeah, that's indoors with good weapons against a terrible secondary.
Yeah. And then you have
these teams can't score 20, it would be embarrassing.
Seriously. Oh man, against all these people that are paying $100 and $200 over face value to watch these two teams play football. It's what a world. Sunday night football is the Tampa Bay Bucks at the Dallas Cowboys. This is 3.5 to 4 in favor of the Bucks on the road over Dallas. 48 to 48.5 is our total. Tampa Bay controls their own destiny, can go ahead, win this division, going to head to the playoffs with Baker Mayfield again. Bucky Irving came back last week, went for over 100 yards, so that's good for them, though listed as questionable again this week for them. And dare I say, Mo, that Cooper Rush, I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but has at least looked mildly competent at quarterback. I'm not saying good. He hasn't looked good. Don't take this the wrong way, but like, it's not like you're watching Mac Jones or something. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're watching Sam Howell. Like, at least it looks like Cooper Rush gets it at least a little bit. Yeah,
they're getting the running game going too now, and then he's basically leaning into spam 88 button.
Yeah.
Double-digit targets 4 of the last 6 games, I believe. I think he had like 12 last week. It's working. I think it's going to work maybe again against a Tampa Bay secondary that's pretty poor. Man, I could not imagine leaving Zion McCollum on CeeDee Lamb and expecting anything remotely good to happen. And Antoine Winfield being out, that's not great. But if it sounds like I'm optimistic about Dallas, I'm definitely not. Actually, quite the opposite. I would lean Tampa Bay here. Jalen McMillan actually emerging as a legitimate WR2 the last couple of weeks. I think something is clicking there. Much, much better numbers the last 2 weeks. 3 touchdowns, like 60 yards or so in both games, which was way above anything else he had done before that. And obviously having Mike Evans back, very, very helpful in that sense as well. They have the left tackle here to help neutralize Micah Parsons. Dallas sustaining a lot of injuries on their defense. Overshown was kind of popping before he went down. You got Trevon Diggs out again here. That guy seems like he's always banged up. I think that Tampa Bay's offense is going to have another good day here indoors against a dinosaur of a defensive coordinator with one of the sharpest offensive coordinators in the league directing things. So I would lean Tampa Bay, but I'm not betting actual money laying the points here.
The whole Dallas is Dallas is CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons, and that's it, right? I mean, it's a 2-man team, and unfortunately, they don't even play on the same side of the ball. They're one's on one side and one's on the other. I don't know how you view Dallas any other way than that. I did, and a little reluctantly, I did lay the 3.5 with Tampa Bay. I just look at this, and if Parsons isn't just eating Baker's lunch, then I think you just have a really good scenario here. I really like Jalen McMillan props as well, who has seemed he has won the confidence of Baker Mayfield to
still plus 270 or so to score. I think that's good.
Yeah, and he's getting all the targets too. That's the other thing that I really like about it is Baker's throwing the ball all over the field. It doesn't have to be these bomb plays. He's throwing him stuff in the middle of the field. I think McMillan is an interesting guy this week. Just overall, 36.5 is the market low on his receiving yards. that just seems grossly underpriced for a guy whose role has just really continues to increase in this offense going up against a defense that they should be able to have their way on. So really do like McMillan stuff this week as well. Guys, everything we do absolutely free here on not only this channel, but over on TheLines.com. So go in, subscribe, rate, review, do all the stuff if you're listening to us on the audio version of this. If you're on YouTube, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comment section how stupid we are and how horrible all of our plays are, because we know that's what you want to tell us anyway. I kid. If you have something nice to say, we'll take that as well. If you head to TheLines.com, upper right-hand corner is the Discord button. Click on that. That, too, is absolutely free. And you are able to go in, discuss not only the NFL games this week, but we'll be talking college football playoff. College basketball is in swing over there. So everybody getting in on the action. So be sure and go in there. Again, absolutely free for all of that. For Mo, I am Matt. Good luck on all your Week 16 bets.